Hello, Bigfoot enthusiasts. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess in the paddock paddy wagon. I want to say hi to Judy. She was the first guest on tonight. And hi, Craig.
Is that it? What are you doing? Okay. All right, we're trying our new streaming setup again, and this time's a little bit different. We're on two separate computers and two separate stream things, and it's kind of weird hearing myself say everything twice. So I'm trying to get used to that. In fact, if I take that off, that might help, just like Hannah did, huh? Okay.
So play our intro.
So play our intro. All right. I gotta find where it's at. Here we go. All right, and here we go, folks. Welcome to the stream this Thursday, and today we are going to be talking about and showing you actually some of our YouTube videos that we put up in the past. And I've got my top 5 Bigfoot reports that I have done videos on, and I think we're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna actually go through some of these and talk about some of the Bigfoot reports we get and the interviews we had with the people who reported them. And Hannah squished way down in the bottom of her screen.
Is that better?
Yes, that's it. So,
all right. So how has everyone else been tonight? Let's have some social hour. Y'all got your grown-up beverages? I have water. I'm not advertising these people.
Coffee in my main cup.
Yep. How is life where y'all are? If you want to drop into the chat, let's see who's here. I do not have Facebook, or I don't have YouTube up right now, and so if you want to just drop in the chat, say a hi, hello. We do have Judy and Craig already, but just say something live in the comments, and we will be verbally acknowledging you. So anyway, weather here's been good. We're in, where are we? Were we on last week? Did we cancel last week? We canceled last week.
No, I think we were on.
No, we were on last week. So weather's been really nice, little nippy, but sunny, and I have sprouting sunflowers right now, so I'm pretty excited.
But it is supposed to get below freezing tonight here in,
I brought the sunflowers in.
yeah, here in Fairplay, South Carolina.
Yes.
We'll be here for another week or so, and then we're going to be headed to North Carolina.
We've been spot-structed a few times here. People coming up to give us their reports, and so we'll be doing something with those. Anyway, Craig, go make that coffee. Go make that coffee. There's no excuse for not having coffee already.
There we go. All right, so before we get started, let's see if I can get this stuff to work. I'm trying to figure this out as we're going along here, but here is our meme of the week, and Hannah's going to read it to you.
I am. All right. Warning, this comes from the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Warning, frequency of large mammal encounters. Hikers, please take extra precautions and wear noisy bells on clothing to give advance warning and avoid surprising wildlife. We also suggest carrying pepper spray in case of an encounter with a black bear or the very elusive Sasquatch. Be vigilant of fresh activity and learn to distinguish between black bear feces and other large predators. For example, black bear feces contains berries and some animal fur, and Sasquatch shit will contain bells and smell like pepper. Happy hiking!
Wow. And thank you. And I thank my cousin Dale, my other cousin Dale, for sharing that with me. So I haven't seen Dylan in the chat, so
He might actually be working.
oh, could
He
be.
does do that
Sometimes. All righty. So without further ado, let's see if this works. So here we go. We're going to switch over here, and I need somebody to tell me in the chat if they can hear this.
Yes, if you cannot hear this, let us know. I know I can't hear it. If you cannot hear it, please type it into the chat. If you can hear it, please let us know in the chat. Craig says he hears nothing. All right.
All right. Craziness.
Give us a second to figure out our freaking software.
All right, let me mess with this a bit. Hannah can vamp.
I can vamp. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel Judy feels like she's in a vortex. There we go.
A vortex. Oh, how so? I want to hear about a vortex. I like to talk about vortexes. Are we talking about a quantum
vortex? Are you experiencing multiple dimensions all at the same time? Are you? Hey, Galen, we're trying to sort out some software issues right now. But Judy feels like she's gonna get in a vortex. Craig, we have thought about a hammer multiple times. Yes, we have. Let's see. I was actually gonna look at can't hear YouTube. Replay in StreamYard. I don't know. It's so weird. Would this be like a YouTube watch party in StreamYard? I don't know. Oh. StreamYard is the easiest live streaming tool, but until it's not. So, okay, I have to say, let me just be really honest. We were at a loss. We had gotten a couple Bigfoot reports since we've been here, and we wanted to go over those and talk about the monster squatches that are reported in South Carolina, but the reports were incomplete, and so we could not put a show together based on those reports. And I'm being dead serious. We're still waiting for information, so we were very ill prepared for that. And so it was my bright idea. I said, Henny, why don't you do like your top 3 reports, your top 3 favorite reports that came in, because we got some great ones. Bigfoot 911 and Bigfoot ate my huckleberries, and there was one about the snow and the footprints. And Judy says the echo is gone. I didn't know there was an echo. But
turn my mic off.
Oh, he turned his mic off. I think he should just use his own mic for the internal mic. But so it was my idea, and it is not anything that we've actually tested yet. It's kind of, yeah. So how are we coming over there? Is it no bueno?
No bueno.
What if you turned that on and just played it into the mic? What if you just played those speakers into the mic? Did it old-fashioned way?
Oh, that's crazy, but I can.
We're going to try something really radical.
But you got to be quiet or mute your mic.
I think I am muted.
No.
Oh. Not yet? All right, I'm going to mute my mic over here, and we're going to do it the old-fashioned way.
I'm going to try something here.
Oh, he's trying something.
Hold on.
Oh.
Well, I got to switch my computer to the speakers.
I think that using 2 separate computers is a dumb idea.
I think so too.
We're not going to do it this way again. We'll just look cute next to each other. I like that better anyway, because then I can poke him under the table. Poke, 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 poke. So,
So now it should come.
all right.
All right, I'm going to try this old-fashioned way. Back in the day when we used to put the microphone next to the speaker on the computer. So we're going to give this a shot real quick. So you'll be able to see Hannah and see if this works. First time I ever took a Bigfoot 911 call. So stay tuned. So on October 1st, I received this email, basically stating that there's two guys out there hunting, and they have Bigfoot screaming back and forth around their camp every night, and they wanted to know if I could come check it out, and they had a tent for me to come and everything, and I was all excited, but Detroit Lake's on the other side of the state from me, and here in Oregon, that's about 400 and some odd miles. So I really couldn't go do that because I have a job. So never fear. We have a gal on the other side of the state who works for us and with us, and her name's Christy. So I'm going to turn you over to Christy, and she's going to talk about what she found when she went and checked it out.
Michael and Daniel were part of a camping trip that spanned most of last week. They had set up camp in an area about 5 miles off of Forest Road 46, about 8 to 9 miles from Detroit Lake. It's in an area that's very rich hunting area with a lot of food sources. It's a great space. So they had something come into their camp the first night and scream and whoop and holler all night long, from screams on one side to screams on the other. And they said it was very big and very loud, and it sounded like almost like a woman screaming with a deeper tone to it. Then on the second night, they had it come back in again, and they actually came down and emailed the website to try to get someone to come out immediately, and we couldn't. So they went back and they started recording, and they recorded several whoops from either side of their site. And the next day when they were scouting around, they found footprints. They cast the footprints. They left out maple donuts. The animals were eating the maple donuts, but weren't eating the apple. Very interesting. So they said that during the day they felt like they were being watched, and it was very quiet in the area, and at night they would come out and scream at each other. One of the comments that was made, and I can't remember which fellow made it, either Daniel or Michael, said it sounded like a parent screaming at kids because of the tone and the pitch of some of the screams. So this is definitely the site where the camper recorded those audio whoops. I found the cone he left for me down here. So this ridge is approximately 8.5 to 9 miles up, where the camper may have been based on his instructions. This was his site, where the whoops were recorded from. The power cut line is that direction on the ridge coming down. That direction is Schuylkill Meadows, probably about 4 miles as the crow flies. So this is on a ridge about 2.5 to 3 miles above that last campsite. And we're about 2 to 3 miles below Skookum. I believe it's called Meadow. Skookum Meadow is a place where the Native Americans said the Skookums lived. Skookums were Sasquatches in that native language. It was known as their place, and they kept away from it.
At this point, I want to interject something here. Christy drove her up.
Okay. Now this is where I just jabber a lot, but
So I'll bet they can hear me through your mic. So Craig wanted to know if that burned up last year.
you know, Craig, I don't know. If you know where Skookum Meadows is, it's near what they call the Bigfoot Highway. Well, actually, it's down by Detroit Lake. In fact, she was just a little bit north of Detroit Lake in Oregon. So
Yeah, it says that the lot probably. Yeah.
Hannah just looked it up. Yeah, so it was just north of Detroit Lake. So I think that area did burn last year. Bummer, huh? But what was really interesting is the guy went on to, let's see if I can run this forward a little bit. He did get a footprint cast, which was just about 15 inches, 14 and a half, 15 inches long, that he found in that area. After he was like pinned down with whoops on all sides of him. And then
Those whoops sounded really weird.
They did.
Sounded almost like, I would say, are those Bigfoot whoops or are those like alien? You know, they had like, I don't know, a weird quality to them. It didn't sound like your stereotypical Bigfoot whoop.
Yeah, it was a little bit different than what's normally described or what I've heard. So, but the other thing is he found this walking stick, and I thought that was really interesting because we don't think about that. Does Bigfoot use walking sticks? But he found this stick, and it up in the top of it where the hand goes is fairly worn, you know, and most humans wouldn't use a 6.5 foot long stick to walk with.
That's as tall as he is.
Yeah. So a little bit tall.
Welcome.
So I think to mitigate the sound problems, I'm going to have Hannah move over here when we play the next one. So
They can hear me just fine over there.
can they?
Yeah, I think so.
Hope so. I know we could eliminate the echo with that too.
Test.
All right. Tell us if we can hear that, because I can't hear, but if she can in her headphones, might be able to hear herself. But anyway, so we're going to move in right along. The next one was some kids sent me this one, and actually it was really interesting to me too. Was let's see. I don't think you need to hear this one so much, but here we go. Or not. It's loading really slow.
Look how big that toe is, though. Like, no cap.
All righty, we're going to move. If I can get to a spot here. Why won't it stay there?
Taped 3 near the footprints. There were 3 boys up in the hiking area up in the snow, and they were at the parking lot actually of these trailheads, and they found these footprints who went up the mountain.
There we go. All right. This was 2 years ago, 2 winters ago, was it, Hannah?
It says the first Bigfoot report of 2020.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. So a year ago.
Just right before everything hit the fan.
Right. This was in January. Yeah, it was right in January. And for Craig, who I believe lives in LeGrand, doesn't he?
Yep.
Or Union, I think. I
Hi,
can't remember.
Renee. Yes.
So
Lives in Union County.
okay. So for you, Craig, these footprints, if you go up, I think it's Mount Emily Road. Is it Mount Emily Road? I think it is. Anyway,
I'm the wrong person to ask.
I know. It's Mount Emily Road. You go up past the dump in LeGrand, and it goes up on Mount Emily. And I think you go up there a little ways, and there's some hiking trails and an archery range. And there's a parking lot. That's where these footprints were actually found. My partner Pete and I actually headed down there and checked out that area in the snow. And we came across some pretty tore up trees. Now, I don't know what actually did this. You know, sometimes elk will rub trees and stuff. But this was way up in the air. You know, I even talked about it in the video.
They don't generally lodge trees against each other and prop things up against trees, do
Right,
they?
right. No,
I mean, it's the lack of opposable thumbs.
right. And plus, this was way up in the air. I don't know if you can see it here. I don't think so. Oh, wait, you can see my cursor. So this is, you know, it was about 7 feet. You know, which isn't out of the range of an elk, I don't think. But we found that. But these footprints went across that parking lot and down the hill for about a mile. So anyway,
Is this where you sunk in the snow?
I think this is where I sunk in the snow with my snowshoes. And I told Pete, leave me. So, like I said, all these videos is stuff you can find in our playlists. The next one I got was fantastic. This was one of my favorite ones.
Are you going to do the huckleberry one tonight?
Yes,
Awesome.
we're getting there.
All the limbs have been broke off and shoved in. I'm 6'7". This thing goes above me. You know, it's big.
So,
Oh, I remember that.
Thing is.
yeah. So this one here, this was filmed by the guy who gave me the report. He sent me his video. But this
broke off and shoved in.
This tree.
6'7".
You're talking over him.
Yeah, I know.
Above me.
I'm trying to find a good spot to pause it here.
Big. Not only that, it's got marks on it, like claw marks, like nothing else I've ever seen.
It's like Freddy Krueger took.
Nothing else I've ever.
Yeah, it's kind of like Freddy Krueger marks. Yeah, but oh shoot, I missed it. I just messed it up. But anyway, this tree was like I said, this was a big guy. I mean, I interviewed him. We talked for a while. He's 6'7", and he could not reach the top of it with his arms. And I know I'm 6'3", and my reach is 8 feet with my fingertips. I use it to measure ceilings a lot when I'm doing carpentry work, but I have and he could not reach the top of that. So it's well over 8 feet. But the interesting thing is, I mean, this thing's huge. It's heavy, and somebody had picked it up, turned it upside down, and jammed it nose end into the ground.
Donna, better late than never.
So that is one of the really more credible tree structures I think there is, especially when the trees are upside down, jammed in the ground.
We saw some in Bankhead National Forest like that.
Mm-hmm.
That their root balls were not just unearthed, but the limb ends of the trees were buried in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I get that it was wet and it was windy, but that would be an awful lot of wind force and some super muddy ground to bury the limb end of the tree into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mama Nature's weird sometimes. Just saying, but
So, by the way, for you Eastern Oregoners, again, this took place around the not Oxbow. What's that other way where that little restaurant is? Cornucopia. This is near Cornucopia, Oregon, which is above halfway, if you know where that's at.
It's a great restaurant there if it has survived all of the nonsense over the last year. If you ever want to go there for Mother's Day or Thanksgiving, awesome. It's called the Cornucopia Inn.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful place. Oh, this is one of my favorites. He looks like he's lost sleep over this whole thing.
Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting interview I had with this young man.
We like him.
Yeah.
But he looks haunted. Look at that. I mean,
I'm trying to find the spot here where he was talking with me. There it is.
I just look at this. Look at his eyes as he's talking, though. I mean,
I know. So when
like he hasn't slept now in months.
Yeah. So this is one I really got. We took him to the spot, and I actually got to take my drone out and shoot everything, and we measured everything, and it's a really interesting case. If you want to go look it up, wow, that one's almost had 3,500 views on it. Wow.
Whoa.
So, but anyway, it's called The Young Man Chased Away by Bigfoot, and I'm going to play a little bit for you guys.
Back it up. My hypothesis was that there was a female sitting down here watching us, doing whatever she was doing. That there was a juvenile getting up on these apples. Yeah. And the male was somewhere further down the stream doing something else. And he would have been on that side of the stream behind that big old tree we can see over there right in front of that house. So we got up, there's even little steps right there and a ledge you can sit under the bridge. Got up, walked on the road, took that left there. About the time we got to almost right in front of that tree, I got that same feeling, but way worse, enough to just stop me in my tracks, make me like staring at that tree. And that's when it stepped out. Like I said, there's this house over here that had a giant floodlight, and it was pointed at our backs, but facing directly towards it. So when he took off running back this way, he was in essence running back into the light, but back into the darkness at the same time. He was avoiding where the light was. So this is essentially where it started. My initial feeling was right off the left side of the bridge here.
All right, let's break William's story down a little bit, and I'll give you a better explanation of exactly what happened and how it happened. First of all, William was sitting under the bridge with his friend. This is where the bridge is located. He had an eerie feeling, or like something was watching him from across the bridge on the other side. So him and his friend decided to get up and walk down the road. They got up, they walked down the road and around the corner, and when they reached this house over here, he got that eerie feeling again, and that's when he saw the Bigfoot standing behind a tree. And at that point, they just took off down the road. The Bigfoot walked in front of the house, around behind the house, and back in the direction that it came from through this open field. William seemed to think that the purpose of these creatures and why they were here was because they were picking apples from this apple orchard. Now, that seems very reasonable to me, because if you look at this tree line here and that follows this creek bed, it leads up a hill and directly into the Blue Mountains, in a very large part of the Blue Mountains. 27,000 square miles of mountains.
All right. So I'm going to pause it right there. And if you guys want to go watch that, it'd be awesome. You can see the whole thing. But this guy was completely shaken up by this experience. And like I said, they were, when he got that eerie feeling and he walked down the road and around the corner, the Bigfoot followed him. At least the male did. They suspect that there was a female and a juvenile in the apple orchard, and the male was scaring him off, basically, and chasing him down the road, and made sure he didn't go back to where they were. And interesting enough, I mean, this report was 4 or 5 years before I had my sighting, but where my sighting was in the same area, 5 or 6 years later. And I don't know if you look at this terrain here, but I don't know if you can see this area, if you can see my cursor back there. Back up this ridge line, and then if you go, there's more mountains behind here. If you go back further back that way, that's where the Freeman film, the Bigfoot Freeman film, was taken, just a few miles up around that corner. So for those of you in Eastern Oregon will know where this is here. This is the Baker Valley down here. And
so pretty.
Yeah. And then if you look off in the distance over here, that's Mount Harris. And then Mount Emily's just on the other side of that, over here where LeGrand is.
Okay, before we continue, let's go back to the root ball up structures. Craig said probably just snow load, like some are wont to say. Could snow load cause like a full submersion of tree limbs in soggy ground?
I don't think it would turn a tree upside down. Well, here's the deal with that one. Let's see if I can go back there. Can I go back there? Oh, yeah. All right, perfect. Hey, this is really cool. I can go back and do things. All right.
We're making it work.
We're making it work. The thing with the tree structure thing is, if you look right here, there's the tree. It's turned upside down and jammed in the ground. The tree it come off of is right here, laying on the ground behind it.
And like I said, even in Bankhead, we saw some like that. Like there was no way that a tree, even trees falling against other trees, would cause that particular angle of a break. And
right,
there's some really weird stuff.
So what happened is this tree fell on the ground, and something broke off half of it, turned it upside down, and stuck it in the ground. It didn't fall that way, because it would have been laying on the ground on top of this other one. And you can see where the tree limbs were over here. They came off it.
Craig says he was joking.
Yeah.
So honestly, when we get our live Zooms with the with our Patreons, it's going to be so much easier because it's really hard to text.
So yeah. So what's really great is when we're testing this program out, to be able to use this, so we can actually invite you guys in on the chats, and we can see your pretty faces.
Okay, so Gordon wants to know, does the root ball up structure seem to be regionally northwest?
Go back
down here.
Yeah, we've seen them down here
In Alabama.
Yeah.
I see a lot of weird things in Alabama.
We do. But they're also fairly common in Alaska. In fact, that's where some of the first ones found were up in Alaska, Canada, Pacific Northwest, and down in Alabama.
Oh, I forgot to play my Alabama song when we were.
In Florida too, I believe there's been some found. So
There's just weird stuff in Florida.
yeah,
Period.
and also some have been found in Australia. So, yeah.
Okay,
So they're pretty much worldwide phenomenon.
In fact, Scott made quite an interesting. He made an interesting observation today. We were looking at the map of reported Bigfoot sightings around the country, and we are headed into the thick. I mean, we thought the big thicket was crazy, but really the closer to Maine we get, the more sightings there are. The denser the reporting is. So interesting.
Yeah, and it's another thing that I found in the past too was if you go back to this young man's
I just love the look on his face. I mean, I don't love it like I'm glad he's feeling like that, but this guy has had a life-changing experience. You can see it. I mean, I've spent my whole life working with people, and this guy's life was changed by the experience. You can see it in him.
Yeah.
So
it was.
At the very least, he utterly believes that this happened. From the most skeptical point you can take, which is of course where we always start, he is utterly convinced of the truth of this, so much that his entire countenance has been changed.
Oops. All right. So what I want to point out too with his report was, if you look here, where he saw that was down here by this house. He had walked down this road around the corner. The Bigfoot had walked through the field to make sure he saw him go down this road. Now, what's interesting is that's a house. That's a house. That's a house. This up here is a house. There's another house on the other side of this apple orchard.
This is a very peeply area.
It's not, dense, but there's this forest that goes, there's this tree line that follows the creek and goes clear up into the mountains. So a lot of reports we get, now this might surprise some people, but a lot of reports we get are a lot closer to civilization than you think. You think you don't see these things because they're way deep in the forest. You don't see them because they're stealthy. and they are closer to we get surprising amount of reports that are closer to civilization than you imagine.
That's because civilization has Nutella.
Exactly.
I'm telling you. I mean, food is like the universal language. And what would you rather eat, pine needles or Nutella? They know where the good stuff is.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
So
Craig wanted to know if that was Pine Creek, near Pine Creek.
Which one?
I'm assuming the last one.
Oh, the tree?
Yeah. Don't know.
Where the kid was. Yes, that was Pine Creek.
Up by halfway.
No. This is the Pine Creek that's in Baker Valley. Yeah.
That's by halfway.
No, there's a Pine Creek in Baker Valley too. Yes, that was Pine Creek, Craig. And it go no, actually, yes. Is it Pine Creek? It's the river that runs from. It's the town that got wiped out. Rock Creek. It's Rock Creek, Craig. Yeah. It's the town that got wiped out when the Lake Killimacue Dam broke back in the 1800s. And there's a town, Rock Creek,
under that lake.
Yeah, and when the water came down, it wiped the town out. Where those houses were actually is where the old town of Rock Creek stood. So, in fact, there's some ruins there, just in that little area of the old town of Rock Creek.
You love ruins.
I do.
All right, next one. Oh, it's my favorite. This is my favorite. I love this story.
This is a great Bigfoot story, and you can tell because we've had 18,500 views on this.
You need to recirculate. You need to bump that one and get that back out on the airwaves.
Yeah. So let's see if we can play this one here.
Blue Mountain Bigfoot Bigfoot research.
That looks so cute there.
My squatching partner and squatcher extraordinaire,
Goober.
Nelson, recently received a report. So we located the area on the map, geared up, and went and interviewed the witnesses in the location.
Pause it.
So here's what they had to say.
This experience is where you decided it was time to not be hauling so much weight around, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is a great story behind the Lake Killamacue hike. Just saying. You should ask him.
First night. So we pulled up, parked, said about 20 yards.
Oh, by the way, I also want to add to this too, for Craig, again, is, you know, with the footprints in the snow that the kids filmed, this is the exact same area. Just the fall before.
Behind where we're standing right now, same place we always park. We get out of the pickup, we had both dogs with us, and both of the kids, her. So she walks down just in front of the pickup, about where the back of the pickup is now, so probably 30, 40 yards from it. So they're picking right there, and I'd wandered off up this direction. Actually walked right down this little trail right behind me past this dead stump, and was standing right where that log goes across the trail, and something right in front of me, about 20 yards, said went, just like that. And I stopped for a minute. Okay, so I kind of circled right around that stump, right back up here to the road, just beside the street. And I stood there for a minute, so I went back at it. And just as I did that, something 80 yards up the hill with these trees right here did the same exact noise, but even louder. It was more throaty. So it returned. My first thought was bear when I heard the first, because I've heard bears do that. When the second one sounded, the hair stood up. That was no bear that barked at me. Instantly, our dogs freaked out. Of course, the kids freaked out. And I said, okay, we're going to leave. And we drove off out of here. Came up 7 days later and pulled in, parked in the exact same spot. And this is all, well, we had the girls, so the first night was probably 9 o'clock at night. And just getting good and dark. But we had good moonlight. And the last one, when we pulled in, like I said, 7 days later, this all happened 2 weeks ago, pulled in, and they get out, they meander back into their same place. I walk right back up here, and just as I was standing here, a little bit bigger than a football, something comes out of the corner of my eye that was probably 30 foot in the air, and went flying across. And said it was dark. I'm assuming it was a chunk of a log. And it wasn't a bird, because it was close enough to me, I would have heard no, nothing. That spiraled across and shot down, and I never did hear it hit, so it had to have cleared the road down there. So I walked up and headed down across the road. And once I got down across the road, is when I heard them start screaming. And so I come running back up, and they had sticks thrown at them.
My daughter and I were right here, and we were looking in those bushes for huckleberries, and we heard something fly up the ground. My daughter goes, "What was that?" I said, "Don't worry about it. Just keep picking." So I made her keep picking, and then it happened again. And it sounded like a stick had gotten thrown at us, but it landed right here. And that's when I was like, "Okay, we're done. We're going to the track. I'm not doing this anymore."
So they were screaming, and you came back up here.
Yep.
And then you guys packed up?
Yep. I was not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to walk around, and she wasn't having it. Get the pickup, let's go. So we got the pickup. We actually drove on down the road to, there's a pretty good creek in the spring that runs up the road a ways, probably 3 miles up the road. So we got up in there, and coming back down when we got right to here, I slowed down and stopped and was going to jump out and wanted to run down off the lower side of the road. Something I just wanted to go down there. I don't know why, but I stopped and opened the door, and she grabbed me by the hoodie and held me back in, and that was the end of that.
That was it.
Okay, we're heading home.
And this is the first time you went back?
Yep. Of course, I never have a phone or a camera or anything neat like that, but I don't need it. I gotta see it. I've hunted my whole life. I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've come across tracks. I've come across trees that were 10 foot up, snapped over, logs pulled that were 8 inches around, and always wondered what did that. You know, but I don't know. This last couple weeks was eye-opening.
So, Pete.
All right. So
Craig had to go get his wife, but he did say that he's heard howls up Killimaque.
yeah, I saw that. Craig, we have a video if you want to go back and watch. It's a long one. It's like almost an hour long video we did of our trip to Killimaque. So so see ya. Have a great day. But or evening. So after we did the interview with these folks, we stuck around for a while, and we did a night investigation. Let's see if I can jump.
Here's the thing: the guy was describing the sound that that actually is more consistent with the Bigfoot 911 from Detroit Lake sound than that stereotypical whoop sound, that grunt.
All right.
Throaty grunt. Does that now? What about your experience? That was more of a throaty grunt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you can see in this video here. I turned the sound off, so I'm just going to narrate it myself. I don't know if I got zoomed in on that or not. Oh, there it is. Oh. You can see the eye shine there in the trees. That was bouncing off our infrared cameras. That was quite a ways away from us, but I have to report and be honest with you. That was an elk. It's kind of scary looking at first, but it actually was an elk, because I could see it. I could see it in night vision better. But the weird part about it was, what happened was it was looking at us, and then we heard this almost chest thump, kind of a on the chest, and then the elk actually looked in the direction that chest thumping was coming from. It was really fast. It was out in the woods, and it turned and ran away from wherever that sound was. It didn't run from us. It was looking right at us. It knew we were there.
And it knew it wasn't hunting season.
Yeah, and it wasn't bothered by us, but whatever made that chest beating sound, which we did not get recorded on the audio. But we did get another recording later with our sound recorders, and I think it's right here. Let's see if this will work.
Probably about 5 minutes prior to those rapid fire wood knocks, and then when we saw that deer, we had been knocking on the trees, and here's what our recorder picked up, and this was us. So Pete and I did stay in the area quite a while after we saw that deer and heard those wood knocks. We did some whoops and some more tree knocks, and really didn't get any answers. So we stayed out till it was pretty close to 10 o'clock at night before we decided to start driving out of the mountains. It was about a 2-hour drive to get home because we both had to work the next day. But we did leave an audio recorder out all night long. And other than wind blowing and planes flying over, we did catch one thing that was very, very interesting. Here it is for you right now. Yeah, when I heard that, the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I got a few goosebumps. That was recorded about a half an hour after we left, so that would have been around 10:30 in the evening. So I'm going to play it a few times for you again so you can get a good listen to it.
I think that's the Bigfoot's victory whoop.
Yeah.
Won.
He won. He ran us out of the woods that night. So that was probably one of the better experiences we've had out squatching and following up on reports. And that's why we get reports from people. That's why we love getting reports from people. And what did Donna say?
They were complete when we got them. So Donna says she hopes that we can make it out to Vermont this summer.
I wish you could have made the
I
trip
know,
out
maybe
to
this
Vermont.
summer.
Maybe
We were
this summer.
gonna go to Vermont last summer and things didn't work out.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because of a roof job.
Oh, that's right. But
no roof jobs
no,
this year.
no
Side jobs.
No side jobs this year. So, we will get something set up for you.
Yep.
Absolutely. Keep in touch. If you want to email us, are you in touch with her off YouTube somehow?
Donna, if you're on Facebook, make sure we're friends. And when you friend me, if we're not already friends, send me a message so I know who you are. And if we are already friends, send me a message and say, "Come on, woman, you know who I am."
Or I just put our email address in the chat if you want to email us.
Or you can use you can just go to the website and use the contact form.
Yep, that too. And yeah, you can go to the website, and the website is, oh, look at what I can do, squatchamerica.com. Ooh, fancy schmancy. Yep.
I'm feeling sleepy now.
And I can even say,
Starting to yawn.
we can even do these little funny banners that says like, share, and comment.
Oh, look, like, share, comment. So with that, we hope you've enjoyed our favorite Bigfoot reports. Honestly, the ones we're getting. Oh, yes, that's right. She did a show with us, remember? Yeah.
I do remember.
So, I user tags like handles. I lose track of whose handle is what. But anyway, I don't even know what I was thinking. Anyway, so remember what our job is. Do you have all those slides up?
I do not have those slides on this at all.
We're still figuring out the poor StreamYard thing. Anyway, just remember our job is to investigate the unexplained.
Not to explain the uninvestigated.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our favorite Bigfoot reports. As always, you can like and you can share this video share this live. It'll be up soon on your social media. Get your friends to watch it. Have popcorn and watch parties. I don't know.
And join us over on Patreon.
Where we are getting things nailed down. It's just very slow going. Thank you so much. Those of you who are Patreons, thank you so much. You have got such amazingly, possibly unfounded faith in us.
But thank you for our patrons that we have already. Yes. But if you want to join us over on Patreon, please jump on over.
Patreon.
It's in the description below. And we can... And we're going to do some live chats with you face to face.
Yes, we like to live chat.
And we'll also keep you up on some of the stuff that we don't share over here. So
Don't sing.
All right.
Actually, if he had grown up in a musical home, my theory is that he would be a very nice tenor, because you know where he can maintain a tune the best is singing along with the Bee Gees. It's amazing. Yeah,
because when I grew up, disco was king. With that, we thank you for watching. Thank you to our patrons and to all of you.
Keep it squatchy
and go out and find Bigfoot.
Bye.